or something just to keep, the brush as far away from them as possible, because being such critical communication towers, they need to be protected, right? And I don't see much of a cement pad or much clearance there. That seems like the grass goes almost right up to them.
Right, yeah, you've got some of that lower lying brush. Now, I'll tell you what's interesting is we saw this in that big fire up in Northern California near Chico, and we watched some of these radio towers, and you would actually be a little bit surprised of how resilient they kind of are. We saw the flames kind of get right up next to them, and they thankfully were able to kind of make it through. And there's a shot from Desmond as well as he's looking at them. So again, you get a little bit better perspective from Desmond's shot too about how a bit further away the fire is, but that plume of smoke is just so large that when you look at it from one of the cameras up there, it certainly looks like it's much closer than it is, but still it's got a good distance away before it gets up to those cameras.
Exactly, and really the bright side here is that the winds are really relatively calm. I think I saw maybe 10 miles per hour, but we've got 100-degree weather out there. It's been very hot. Yeah. And, certainly this is our last day of the heat, but, the cooler weather can't come soon enough, especially for the crews that are out there now working on all of the fires that are burning, not only here, but also in San Bernardino. We've got fires in LA County, San Bernardino, and Orange County. So crews are definitely stretched. They are all working very hard to get these fires under control. And we are seeing this one in this rugged area that really is demanding air support, that those crews are going to be the ones that are really making the biggest dent on this. We've seen those big tankers make that nice drop of the Phos-Chek that is really, as you were talking about, Juan, making that containment line, setting up that line so that they can stop the fire right there at the top of that ridge there. So that is certainly a good sign.
They do such a great job, and I feel like each year they learn a little more. They get better equipment. We're seeing better aerial units out there. The technology gets better with how they can map out a fire and basically drop the fire retardant with so much precision, as well as the water drops. But it seems like, and maybe either Desmond or Mike can clear it up for us too, has it been mostly fire retardant drops, or
early on,
are we seeing some water?
Both. Early on, it's always going to be the helicopters because the helicopters get there faster. Helicopters don't carry retardant; they have water on them. So those were the initial things that were there, and they are still down there. I would just venture to guess we can't see them because the smoke's not really clearing out of where the fire is. So those helicopters are obviously much lower to the ground than the fixed wing aircraft. So they're down there somewhere. I'm actually looking at least two of them, one from CAL FIRE, one from the Orange County Sheriff's Office. I know that there are also 2 Orange County Fire helicopters down there as well. So they're still there. They're doing their work. But we've got now the tankers that are here that can obviously make a much larger impact than the helicopters. Sorry, just listening to some radio traffic here. But yeah, helicopters are still there, and they were the first ones there.
Yeah, you also realize how big this fire is too, Amy, when Desmond finally sees a small aircraft or a helicopter and he zooms in, you're like, whoa. They look
really
so
big.
tiny compared to what's going on. And here we have a lot of intense flames right here burning. And there seems to be like a little bit of a fire road there too, so hopefully that'll help. But fire burning this intense, the heat that it creates will probably set off other fires.
There's so much brush to burn in this area. It does not look like it's been cleared. There haven't been, any fires right in this immediate area of late. So there was a lot of brush to burn, and we can see all of that very thick smoke. There's one of those tankers right now getting set up. I didn't see the spotter plane, but
again, Desmond finally zooms in. You realize this is a big airplane, but when he's zoomed out wide, he looks so small, just giving you that perspective of just how big this fire is, quickly growing from 7 to 670 acres, and I'm only guessing that number has gone even higher in the few moments that we've been talking about it right here. There's another very precise drop of the fire retardant. A little farther away from the fire lines, but whatever works, right?
Exactly.
And I want to point out really quick, I was just looking at Southern California, I saw those power lines in that shot, and that made me think about power outages. There is a power outage in the area as well, being reported by Southern California Edison. It is 38 customers, so it's not a huge impact, but it is probably those homes that are all up, kind of smushed in the canyons there. Those are the ones that are probably without power right now. And look at that, there's a burned power pole, power lines down that Desmond is looking at from his shot right now as well. So that's exactly what happens. They get to the top of the ridge. Top of the ridge is usually where they put power lines, and then that's kind of what we're looking at. And you see that pretty aggressive fire behavior as it comes across the ridge like that right there.
And Mike, have you heard of, and I see that power line right there, have we heard of I guess it would be Edison out there. Would they be shutting power out as a precaution or not
right?
yet?
Well, precautionary, no. There is an outage because of the fire, though.
That's the fire, right?
Yeah. So there are 38 customers that are without power, kind of in that area, and of course, Edison's really not going to be able to fix that until there's a better handle. As we're on the now, I think Desmond is now, kind of on the north side of the fire here, where you're looking at some really intense flames from there, Des.
That is intense. And I think, Amy, we have some new evacuations. Do we know about that? Or?
Yeah, we have not been able to. I know that we are getting some new evacuation orders. We are waiting to get those that we can actually see them. Mike, I don't know if you're able to open up the latest list of evacuation orders.
I think they're talking about Robinson Ranch, Mike.
Okay, yeah, let me pull those up right here. I'll get back to you in just a
Robinson
second.
Ranch, and it says due to the airport fire, and OC Sheriff is the one that put this out. So they said to stay on top of their Twitter account or their X account, and they're putting out that information. So,
Yeah, but we are seeing a lot of flames on this shot that Desmond is showing us up in Sky Cow right now. And for so long, we were just seeing so much smoke and couldn't see nearly the flames that are still out there, but certainly a lot of fire burning. We are waiting for an update on the new acreage that has actually been burned, but this is a big fire burning in Trabuco Canyon. There are a number of evacuation orders, and as we were just hearing, there are also power outages. Mike, you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say was able to pull up those evacuations. If we can put my computer here in an inset, I can show
where
it
is
to you.
Robinson Ranch?
So okay, so the orange ones here are the voluntary. The red is the mandatory. So that's that subdivision that we've been looking at with those kind of tile and clay roofs that the fire was kind of moving away from. That whole subdivision is now under a mandatory evacuation. Over here, this is the Mandolin Lane right here, where we saw the water tower and we saw those deputies going door to door. So it looks like they have expanded it to the rest of that subdivision. They're calling it the Robinson Ranch HOA. And then you've got in orange here, these are voluntary evacuations. Dove Canyon, Hemingway Court, Trabuco Canyon Shopping Center is kind of all up in here. And then you've got the Trabuco Rose, Holy Gym Canyon rather, that this is all where those smaller kind of spread out homes are. So more evacuations coming in. The mandatory evacuations are for those homes that we were looking at earlier in that subdivision with the clay roofs.
I was going to say, it's not a very dense community, Mike. We saw in Desmond shots. These are pretty significant sized homes, big homes out there in this area here.
Yeah, let me switch
area,
back
right?
here. So this is the subdivision that's under evacuation right here.
Okay.
So you can see there actually are a lot of homes in this area.
That's a little heavier, yeah.
Yeah, in this subdivision. Mandolin Lane right here. This is where we were looking at earlier with those sheriff's cars, the water tankers right there. So yeah, you do have a lot more kind of, and Desmond's looking at it on his side of the screen now as well, and you can see those, well actually, can we take that picture full? Because I want to see, you can see all of the sheriff's department vehicles and those things that are out there now as well. So that is that neighborhood that is now under mandatory evacuations. And if we can take Desmond's picture full, we can see those sheriff's vehicles, those fire engines doing structure protection, really trying to get everybody out of that.
And you don't see a lot of cars on the road, so it's hard to tell at this point if those folks have already left or if they are still trying to pack up some items, or perhaps this all started when they were still at work, and so they may not even be home to do those evacuations. But, you know, this is one of those communities where you can see there's a lot of, you know, roads there, but, you know, it could get very crowded if everyone starts to leave at the same time, and you really don't want to take a chance. You know, once you're told to evacuate, you really do want to listen to the orders here and take caution, because we've all seen fires turn, the winds shift, winds pick up. So you don't want to mess around with this.
Amy, you talked about the winds. We've been talking about the heat. We have our meteorologist, Olga Ospina. She's monitoring the weather conditions out there. Olga, what can you tell us? Another hot day out there.
It is another hot day. I mean, we have been dealing with this excessive heat since last week, and it is another day of triple-digit heat. Our nearby weather station reporting numbers at 103 for that area. So everything is very dry. We do have winds right now from the west, but you can see that actually for that area, the good news is winds are on the lighter side for Trabuco Canyon, but really it doesn't take much to spread this fire. But of course, we'll continue watching that for you. Want to show you some other areas, for some spots out through some of our valleys into the Antelope Valley, some of our high deserts through parts of the Inland Empire. We are seeing some stronger winds there, so that could be an issue. But the good news is, at least for this particular fire in Trabuco Canyon in South Orange County, winds are on the lighter side. We could still see some light winds, though, as head into the evening hours, not out of the woods, but everything is just very hot. And of course, not just in Orange. County, but really across our area. So Trabuco Canyon, that is one of the areas that is under an excessive heat warning, and that continues still until tomorrow. Numbers are going to start to drop just a bit tomorrow, but still we are going to be in the mid 90s for that particular area. And today, of course, the 100 still. So it has been day after day of numbers in the triple digits for that area, and really for a lot of spots. So you can see the excessive heat warning really extending across all of our area, except for the immediate coastline that is under a heat advisory. And again, for some spots until tomorrow, we have some areas that are also under the red flag warning, and exactly for this reason, because we have all the ingredients for these fires. Everything is very dry because of this extreme heat that we have been dealing with for days now. And once we see those winds picking up, of course, that spreads it a little quicker. But even for this area where we're not particularly seeing those really strong winds, of course, we're seeing that fire spread because all that terrain, everything is so dry because of the heat that we've been seeing, this prolonged heat across Southern California. So want to show you also temperatures that we're expecting over the next few days because numbers are going to start to drop. We are going to see some relief on the way, but for now, we're going to continue dealing with this heat for today. And into tomorrow, numbers start to drop just a bit. By Wednesday, things are going to get a lot better. But of course, all eyes on this fire in South Orange County and Trabuco Canyon, where fortunately the winds are light, but it is still an extremely hot day out there. Temperatures in the 100s, once again, as we've been seeing since last week.
Olga, humidity a concern out there? Is it very low?
Humidity is dry right now. The reading is at 17%.
Wow.
So anytime we see anything in the single digits, in the teens, that is very dry, and that is what we are seeing in Trabuco Canyon right now.
My goodness, and you can see here the fire continuing to grow and that smoke continuing to billow in this area here, which later could pose a problem to anyone with respiratory problems, allergies. A lot of times, even with this incredible heat and maybe the pull on the power grid, a lot of people are asked to keep their ACs running to help filter the air in the house, which would be a good thing to do, especially if you're near this fire as we're seeing here in this area.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, there are some customers, about 38 customers, that have lost their power in this area, and certainly making it more difficult for them to, stay in the area. We've got, as Olga was just mentioning, 100-degree weather, and without the AC or any power, it's certainly going to get hot in those homes very quickly. And that air, you can't even open up your windows to try to get a little air in there because of the smoke out there, making it quite difficult. But again, this airport fire, at last check, 670 acres burned. We are waiting for an update on that, but you can just see the large plumes of smoke from really quite a distance.
And we're getting the right-hand side of your screen there, right from that Smart and Final parking lot. You can see some of the billowing smoke there in this community here. Desmond Shaw giving us aerial shots on the left, those ground shots on the right. I had a sense of more urgency too on that ground shot, where you see a lot of traffic, a lot of movement, as people maybe aren't considering getting out of the area just in case, to make way for fire crews and just emergency personnel, and to just be out of the area in case the situation worsens. But again, the retardant checks have been really, really precise and very good. You can see there. It's a line, if you can call it a line. There it is. The fire has now progressed to the left of the screen there. Desmond showing us there as he magnifies the area. They've been doing a great job at dropping that fire retardant and keeping the fire pretty much in that Trabuco Canyon area right there and away from homes. But we do have mandatory evacuations in some areas. People are being asked to leave. And I think, Amy, when I saw Desmond showing us the neighborhood earlier, some people had their cars backed into their driveway, which, we recommend, firefighters recommend, to make sure your car is facing out in case you do have to leave. And maybe Desmond will give us a shot of that. I don't know, Desmond, was I seeing things, or people really do have their cars in their driveway facing outward?
There's a car going down there.
Yeah, a couple of them do here as we're zooming in. This is along Porter Ranch Road. We can put up the magnifying glass, and you can see definitely a couple. It looks like you got the trunk open right there on that car. These probably, getting their go bags ready, whatever may be most important to them. Pictures and important documents, just have all that stuff ready. I mean, even though the fire appears to be burning away from the home, if we get one kind of little unexpected shift in the wind or something like that, things can change. We know how quickly things can change here in Southern California. And again, you're looking at an area here where you have a lot of greenery that's coming up right to the backyards of some of these homes. So, if we were to get some of those sundowner winds or some kind of, Santa Ana condition, which fortunately does sound like it's in the forecast, it can just change so quickly. So extremely nerve-wracking for all these people, but you can see the Orange County Fire Authority down there, maybe some Orange County sheriffs as well, just keeping everyone apprised of everything. And definitely look alive and be ready to go at a moment's notice.
How scary, right?
Yes. And we have changed the wording there. It's now up to 800 acres.
Right.
And an hour ago, we were saying 7 acres, and now, Mike, it's up to 800.
Really incredible how quickly it's gone, and I can hear them talking strategically about where they're trying to keep the fire and what kind of lines they're trying to do. I also want to just mention really quickly, we're talking about those evacuation areas. We have our photographer, Tim Kimball. He's down in a shopping center that is kind of right near the base of that area, and he just a minute ago had a chance to speak with a resident whose home is under an evacuation order. I want you to listen to some of that sound, because he asked her if they're concerned about their home and their daughter, who is actually currently still up in that evacuation zone. Take a listen.
That's what I was talking about.
It's just a house. It's replaceable. But we've got the 2 trailers, and then they got 2 more trailers. Her and her friend are, a couple other people are loading them up, taking them out. They've got 1 load almost out. The other load's just is right behind them.
Yeah, and she's talking about horses there. There is a bunch of horses and animals and livestock. I mean, we've got the subdivision that's more, a little bit more urban, but then this is a very rural area in those hillsides above it. So her home is under that mandatory evacuation area. That's in the Robinson Ranch HOA area, and her daughter is back there trying to help evacuate horses.
Wow. And, we were talking earlier, mentioning, this started around 3 o'clock, a little before 3. So you had kids getting out of school. You might have parents that are still at work. And this is really, you just hope for the best that everyone can connect with their family members.
Yeah.
As that mother was waiting for her daughter, we have to assume that her daughter is an adult, but there may be some younger kids who, might be home and, might not drive. Parents can't get up there. So we're just hoping that everyone can connect with their family members as these evacuation orders are underway. And this airport fire that has now burned 800 acres.
I was impressed with how calm she was too, Amy. I mean, she lives in this area. She knows the dangers of living in areas like this, where we see these fires time and time again. She was very calm, and she knew her daughter was doing a job, and she was letting her do that. And they've got a plan. They have an action plan, which Desmond mentioned a little bit earlier, having your go bag ready, just being able to leave your home at moment's notice. That's very important for a fire. As you can see here, just in the short amount of time that we've been on the air, has grown from 7 acres to 800 acres, and it's probably more than that right now. And you can see the fire crews in the area here. We're thinking this may be the ignition point where this fire got started near the little remote control airport runway there that's in the Trabuco Canyon area. And Desmond, I see you're looking around here. Do you spot anything interesting?
Well, yeah, sometimes it can be fairly easy to just kind of put 2 and 2 together and see where these most likely began.
Yeah.
And this kind of looks like one of those situations. And you can see they have some quite a few hose lines out here, but I thought I might have seen like almost a little bit of evidence tape or something down right in this area. And so that's going to be an area where they probably want minimal foot traffic, because they're going to want to investigate that area to see find the cause of that. And you can see just how close it is to that remote control airport landing strip right here. So it's just very easy to imagine that maybe a little plane could have been coming in for a landing and something went wrong and crashed and could have erupted into something like that. So it'll just be something we'll have to wait for those details for at a later date. But as we wide back out and show you, just boy, I haven't seen a pillar of smoke like this in a long time. That's you're going to be able to see this from all over Southern California now. Probably even from the south end of Camp Pendleton into San Diego County. I bet you can see this from the Big Bear area, from the LA metro area. The smoke is probably 20,000 feet in the air. We're up at 8,000 feet, and the smoke is way above us. So this fire is growing basically at almost like an exponential rate, from 7 to 800 acres in less than 2 hours. But the most intense flames we're seeing, if there's any good news, is that the most intense flames are the ones that are farthest away from the homes and burning into the wilderness area. So as much as we hate to see this, it's at least a situation where hopefully we're going to be able to see no loss of life, or maybe not even hardly any property damage. The ones that were under the most threat over here off of Rose Canyon, they've got the fire retardant down there, and the fire is really calmed down. It's not able to cross into that canyon and threaten these homes over here. We'll put up the map tracker. We know that this is the area, Joplin Ranch Road as well. These dirt roads, these ranches, we know that these were the ones that were under the most serious evacuation warning. So, but looking good on that flank. So they're slowly painting it from the west up towards the north to try to encircle this fire and limit its growth. But I think the larger tanker had to go refill. They could do, sometimes they could do two drops, tens of thousands of gallons of fire retardant, but then they have to go land, and that takes some time. And these planes are so big, they can't just land anywhere. So I believe they're going back to San Bernardino. That's where they have one of their biggest bases there, and the long runways that can accommodate those MD-80s and DC-10s. So they're probably refilling right now. We still have a couple of those smaller tankers that have a lot more flexibility as far as where they can land and fill back up again with the FOS check. But might be in a little bit of a lull right now as we reload and come back in for some more drops.
Desmond, I know you land SkyCal at different areas all over Southern California. Do most airports have a FOS check supply where a tanker could come in and restock, or only specialty airports have that?
Yeah, I think it's only specialty airports, and it's pretty strategic. I mean, it makes sense that San Bernardino would be one of the bases there, obviously right in the shadow of the San Bernardino National Forest, San Gorgonio, Mount San Jacinto, not too far away from there as well. So having a strike force there, you could reach out very quickly to a lot of very vulnerable areas out towards the Banning Pass, that would only be like a 5-minute flight for an MD-80. And we had heard Hemet Airport as well, but that may be where the smaller tankers are going into, because I don't believe that runway there is able to accommodate, a big, like almost like, a commercial jetliner like an MD-80. So those are the ones that we know of. Fox Field as well. There are some tankers that are kept up there. And then, depending on the situation, probably not going to see it this time, but we've heard tankers coming as far away as Hollister when they've had the resources available, from the central coastal area. But as Mike was describing all the fires that are burning right now, I imagine that those resources are elsewhere on, more serious threats to life and property. Hopefully we don't see a situation where in 2020, if we all remember the Bobcat fire, that fire burned for a month. And a big part of the reason for that is because firefighters were so stretched thin across the entire state that we literally didn't have enough bodies and enough machinery resources to fight that fire. And it was, I think, kind of like a calculated decision for the first 3 weeks, because it was burning primarily just wilderness. They had to devote a lot of resources to making sure that Mount Wilson didn't burn. And then the last week of the fire, it crept into the southern end of the Antelope Valley and burned a bunch of homes. And it was able to expand because we just didn't have the resources available at that time to fight it. And I, worry that we might end up getting into a situation like that again because of all the other fires that are burning right now. Just 3 right here in the local area, one in LA, San Bernardino, and Orange County. And when you see, a fire blow up like this, it definitely has to be on your mind. Are we going to be able to contain this while still being able to effectively fight all the fires that are burning across the entire state right now?
Yeah, and really quick, guys, I just want to jump in because Desmond's talking about aircraft coming in from other places. I've been tracking this. There's actually a Chinook that is coming down from Central California, which is a little, far for sure for that to come. There's also an Erickson Sky Crane that is on its way also from Central California that's just coming over the Altadena area. So they are certainly starting to pour in some more aircraft from out of town. And just to talk about where these are refueling, yeah, they are refueling at Hemet. There also looks like they're now refueling potentially, unless this is a new fire, which I hope not, I'll have to look into that. There may be a new fire off the 10 freeway in the Banning area. So we'll check on that in just a second here. But yeah, they are refueling at Hemet. As Des mentioned, the bigger ones, the DC-10s, they're refueling at San Bernardino. San Bernardino, it's actually pretty fascinating. They're very, very well equipped to turn these aircraft around very quickly with the setup they've got. Now, while we're looking at everything that's going on up here with the fire, the flames, the firefight, down below where those evacuations are happening, it is very hectic and very chaotic down there. Our photographer, Tim Kimball, was just able to speak with somebody else who is in the midst of kind of all the chaos. I want you to take a listen to what he had to say.
We don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, it's super close. Like, you can see the flames roaring up, all the helicopters and planes. Like, you know what's going to happen, all this traffic, the cops and the fire. There's even people yelling. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can hear the honking, and on the tail end of that video there, we're going to show you the traffic, some really intense traffic that is going on down there. You can imagine when you've got entire subdivisions of neighborhoods that are trying to evacuate, there's a lot of people, a lot of traffic. And then you have the people as well, as Desmond showing us about 2,500 feet from the fire line to that subdivision. You've also got people that, as you guys have been mentioning, maybe weren't home at the time of these evacuations. Those people are probably trying to get to their homes, but are no longer allowed to. Exactly. In California, they cannot force you to leave your home, but they can certainly prevent you from coming back to it if you are not there already, which is probably what's happening. So as we start to see these streets kind of clear out, or filled with fire engines and some law enforcement, further below down where the shopping center is, there's a Smart and Final and a couple of other things down there. And Des, I don't know if you can get a look at that in a second, but a lot of kind of chaos going on down there, at least when our photographer was just down there, with heavy traffic of people trying to get out of this area, and people, quite frankly, standing in the shopping center just kind of watching what's going on and seeing what they can see. Obviously, this is creating kind of quite the spectacle of everything. And here's that kind of shopping center that we were talking about. There's all the traffic I was just showing you. So it's not a good situation, obviously, to be near it. There's a line of school buses there as well, which we'll see what those are all about. But yeah, the shopping center is full. The streets around it are full. And as you could tell, if you were listening behind that soundbite, honking, screaming, sirens. It's a lot. It's a big situation when you have fires like this.
Yeah, look at all the cars heading in the direction of the fire. Perhaps it is people trying to get home, trying to make it home, and grab what they can in case if they do need to evacuate. And
there's just the
perhaps
road closure.
crews, they're keeping people away from it, right, Mike? Is there a road closure?
Yeah, there's law enforcement right there, and it looks like what they're doing is they're just going to turn those cars around. So that road is looks to be a hard closure. So anybody that's coming down it, trying to hopefully get back to their homes, they're not going to be able to. And you've got those motorcycle officers. I can't tell if that's CHP or the sheriffs. Yeah, maybe the sheriffs. Now they're holding traffic so they can just turn that traffic right around. So as much as it is your natural instinct to want to go back to your property, want to get some of those valuable items, you're not going to be able to do it if you're not already there.
And you see a lot of people walking here on the sidewalk. And I think what we have to remember, too, because our viewers that are watching us, they're seeing the images from SkyCal. But if you're down there on the ground and that's your neighborhood and you see this large plume of smoke coming, and it's hard to see exactly where it is in relation to your home. We know it's 2,500 feet, but the fire's going uphill. But if you're down on the ground, you're trying to get to your home, you see this large plume of smoke, you can't help but panic.
Right.
Maybe you're trying to get home to pets that you left this morning, and maybe you've got a child that is home, and you're really, really frantically trying to get home. So we understand that frustration, but the good news here is that the fire is going up the hill away from the homes, but there are evacuation areas. Mike, you were telling us it was the Cook's Corner area, Trabuco Canyon, Trabuco Creek Road, Trabuco Oaks Drive, Joplin Loop, Rose Canyon Road, Meander, and even the Robinson Ranch community that have been evacuated. So the folks that are trying to get up there, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to drive up there, but we did in fact see some people on foot walking up the sidewalks. I guess they're trying to make their way home, and perhaps officers will let them go if they do in fact have a pet or a child at home, but they don't want those cars in the roadway blocking their equipment.
Right. And 2,500 feet is only half a mile, so you could walk it in a short amount of time, under 10 minutes or so, if you have a good pace, and hopefully make it to your home. But Amy makes a great point. When you see this giant, plume of smoke, as we're seeing there on the right side of your screen there, look at this. You really can't tell sometimes just distance when you're far from it. Is it by your house? Is it behind your house? A lot of concern there, but the firefighters are doing an incredible job from the air, dropping fire retardant water as well. And for the most part, Mike, it looks like they are containing it to this area here. It's not really moving farther out. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely going up that canyon, which is kind of what they've wanted it to. Now, on the backside of that canyon is, we would get into the Inland Empire, and everyone's obviously hoping that it doesn't make it back there. There is a road, which Des, you may know more. Or take a highway. That's what they're trying to keep it to. They are trying to keep it from going, over crossing Ortega Highway, so that we don't run into areas where we're getting into the Inland Empire. And I don't know if I think Luke's in the control room now on the right side of your screen. If we could show you the evacuation map, I just want to give you some perspective of where Desmond was looking when we were talking about that shopping center and the evacuations. So there are those Robinson Ranch HOA. That's the evacuation center, or the evacuation areas that is mandatory. Those are the only ones. And if we're able to get back to my computer, I'll show you that, and I'll show you the voluntary evacuations as well. Here we go. So the red is the mandatory evacuations, and I just wanted to give you guys the context. That shopping center we were talking about, where all that traffic is, that's right here. So those people that we saw were walking this way, and we're trying to get right into where those mandatory evacuations are. So even the people that were in that shopping center are advised not to be there. That whole area is under the voluntary evacuations zone.
Well, if you're just joining us, KCAL News at 4 o'clock here with Amy Johnson, Juan Fernandez, Mike Rogers on the desk, and our Desmond Shaw up in SkyCal, bring you the very latest information and pictures regarding the airport fire burning right now in Trabuco Canyon, a fire that started about an hour ago, right, Amy, and quickly grew to 800 acres as we're seeing it right now.
And we've been watching as this fire is being fought mostly from the air. We do have a number of fires burning in our area from LA County, Orange County, and San Bernardino County. Resources are certainly divided here, but we have seen a great deal of air tankers making drops over this fire. This, of course, another hot day. We've been in an excessive heat warning. 100 degrees out there. Our meteorologist, Olga Ospina, has been watching the situation as well. Olga, it's hot, but the bright side here is that the winds are relatively calm, correct?
You know, when we last spoke, they were relatively calm. They're actually picking up just a bit more right now. So we are seeing sustained winds of 17 miles per hour and gusts stronger than that. So we could continue to see some gusts in the 20s. This is not extremely strong. We are seeing a lot of other areas across Southern California with stronger winds, at least in the 20s. But of course, with this fire already in place, that is certainly of concern. It's also really dry outside. Relative humidity is down to the teens. It's another day of temperatures in the 100s for a lot of our inland spots, including Trabuco Canyon. So we've had a very hot summer. We've had periods where we've had a week, 2 weeks of temperatures in the upper 90s and in the 100s. So all that terrain is extremely dry. And once we get this fire, that of course helps to push that fire even a little quicker, even without the really strong winds. But we are seeing some moderate winds right now through Trabuco Canyon, 17 mile per hour sustained. And you can see some other areas, of course, with stronger winds. We're going to continue with temperatures still above average heading into tomorrow. The good news is there is some relief in sight. Temperatures are going to start to come down a little closer to average already by Wednesday. But today, it is another very hot, dry day. We're seeing some moderate winds through that area. And we've been talking about the red flag warnings that we have for some areas. For the Trabuco Canyon area specifically, that area is under an excessive heat warning. And that continues still through tomorrow night. So we're still seeing a lot of danger, that excessive heat warning in place across most of our inland spots. For our beaches, we're under the heat advisory. So still some very dangerous conditions for the rest of today, and still for a lot of us into tomorrow too. So Wednesday, things get a little closer to average. But for today, we're still seeing some moderate winds out through that Trabuco Canyon area. So of course, a lot of danger out there. Those winds, you can see it on my map, they're pushing in from the west. So any area to the east of Trabuco Canyon will get more of that smoke. However, even those surrounding areas, if you are in places like Rancho Santa Margarita, Lake Forest, as we head towards Lake Elsinore, that's going to be to the east of Trabuco Canyon, you're going to start getting a lot of that smoke. So air quality is going to be another concern for even areas that are not in that immediate area of the fire. But we're going to have a lot of smoke as we've been seeing over the last several days with a lot of those fires breaking out. Smoke, air quality is going to be an issue for Orange County over the next several days. So that's going to continue to be a concern. And of course, we're seeing those moderate winds as well.
Olga, we've been talking about a cool down in the next couple of days, or at least temperatures being a little bit more average. Do you think that's going to help with situations like this?
You know, with this Trabuco Canyon fire, it's already in place. So unfortunately, you know, that's already the case. But we will start to see more favorable conditions for other fires to develop. We're not going to be with as great of a risk as we've been seeing these last several days. The winds are going to start coming down, though, also as we head into the next couple of days. But for today, some moderate winds. And, you know, that, of course, is not good news once we have this fire and, of course, all that really dry terrain out there.
And so often we end up with those sundowner winds when the winds start to pick up as the sun starts to go down. So that might be something that we're seeing some of the impact of that. And we also know that sometimes when you have a fire, it kind of changes the weather because it can be so big and the smoke and everything. But again, we're up to 1,300 acres with the airport fire. If you're just joining us, this name comes from the remote control airport out there for remote controlled planes. It's a small strip, but the fire did start in that area, and this fire has been spreading uphill and away from homes, which is certainly a great point there. Mike?
Right, yeah, really quickly, guys, I just wanted to point out, remember how I told you I was concerned about a new fire over in Banning? There is a new fire over in Banning, and it's called the Sunset Fire. And unfortunately, it has diverted some of the air resources off of this fire over to that fire. My colleague Maya behind me, she was just talking to CAL FIRE, and that is essentially how it works, is they'll try to get a jump on these as quickly as they can. But because of that, we have lost some of our air resources on the Orange County fire. And I want to show you, if we can come back to my map map here, I'm just going to show you where these two fires are, because we haven't lost all of them. There are still some air resources over the airport fire here. We still have the MD-80, which of course is a huge help. You see it right here. And we've got the sheriff's helicopter and the 2 Orange County Fire helicopters. That is kind of where we're at though right now for air resources here on this fire. I'll take you over here. This is the Sunset Fire. And you see these smaller tankers that were on our fire are now over here, right off the 10 freeway and Sunset Avenue. So we're working on getting some more information. CAL FIRE Riverside County Fire says that fire started about 3 o'clock. At the time, an hour ago, it was only reported as 5 acres. We obviously know how that went with the fire in Orange County. When they first reported it, it was at 7 acres, and now we're at 1,300. So we'll have to continue to monitor that one, but I wanted to show you that the some of the air resources that were over with us, all of these, in fact, were over here in Orange County. They have now been diverted to this new fire that is burning off the 10 freeway in Banning. We still do have the MD-80 here that is doing some circles there as well. And looks like, is this the, yeah, this is the Sky Crane that I was telling you about that is now coming over the Chino Hills area. So we'll see where that ends up. But it had come all the way up here from Central California. So they certainly are trying to do whatever they can. We did find out that the C-130 Hercules is still on the ground in at Mather Airport up in Sacramento County.
Yeah, a lot changing, a lot developing. In fact, we have Sean Duran with the Orange County Fire Authority on the phone. Sean, are you there?
This is Steve Concial, the Orange County Fire PIO.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. Can you give us an idea? What's the very latest now? Mike here on the desk was telling us we have yet another brush fire that just broke out.
Yeah, I could talk about our fire right
Okay.
now. I'm not sure. Some of our aircraft were diverted to another fire in Riverside. But I'm calling about great news. The fire is moving away from the homes, moving away from Robinson Ranch and up the hill. So, yes, we did have some evacuation orders in place, but their homes are safe. It is gridlock in the area. When I came in about an hour and a half ago, there's a lot of people trying to get back into their homes. Right now, the roads are shut off. So just be patient. Go to the local areas, the market, the Target's there. You could watch from a distance. Your homes are safe. Again, we had a lot of aircraft, helicopters, and personnel. We sent a robust response. Initially, when we first went on scene, with a small fire, and there was a request for 35 additional engines right away, as well as multiple aircraft. So we were able to pinch this fire, and it is going uphill like it has. We've had numerous holy fires and Holy Gym fires over the years in Trabuco Canyon and Upper Trabuco Canyon. So that's where it's burning. But the good news, it's burning away from the homes. And at 406, it's now approximately 1,400 acres. I know you were saying 1,300 plus. Again, that's a dynamic situation. It constantly grows as the fire gets bigger, and it has to be mapped by the helicopters or air attack, planes in the air, or intel plane. So that comes in. So it's going to be going up as the fire continues. But again, airport fire, we have approximately 1,000 personnel either on scene or en route. Again, it's going to be an extended fire.
Wow.
We're going to be out here throughout the night and well into the next few days.
Well, one thing is for sure, we did see in the last hour or so the aggressive firefight. You're absolutely right about that, and it's good for anyone who's watching us right now who may live in the area to know that, as you said, their homes are safe for now. The fire is burning away from homes and up the ridge there. So we thank you very much for bringing us up to date on the airport fire burning out there in Trabuco Canyon. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
And we are monitoring another fire forcing evacuations in San Bernardino County. The Line Fire has scorched more than 20,000 acres and is just 3% contained.
The extreme heat is not making things easy as firefighters work around the clock trying to contain the flames. Here is the latest map of the fire perimeter. 23,000 acres burned and counting still. It is burning north and east of Highland in the San Bernardino National Forest, heading towards Running Springs to the north and Forest Falls on the southern end. More than 1,700 firefighters are battling the Line Fire. CAL FIRE says more than 36,000 homes are still threatened. And we have team coverage on the fire danger and the extreme heat. Jeff Nguyen will show us how it's affected some schools.
Meteorologist Olga Espina is tracking the sizzling temperatures. But first, Joy Benedict is live in the Line Fire evacuation zone in San Bernardino County. Joy.
Yeah, guys, I mean, it is just ashy and smoky here in this area. I mean, you guys have both been close to fires. You can literally taste it. That is how much ash is coming down from the sky. But right now, we're on Highway 38 here overlooking the San Bernardino National Forest. You see some smoke up there on the hillside. We just had a flare-up. There will be another one again as those smoke flare-ups run this entire ridge all the way along. That just tells you how massive this fire is and how much it has been burning. We are coming up on our 5th night of the line fire, and for folks who live up in these hillside communities, it can be very scary. With smoke-filled skies and fire on the ridge, thousands living in and near the San Bernardino National Forest kept one eye on the hillside.
We take what we feel is most valuable and what can't be replaced.
Mike Cerna lives in Mentone on the edge of the forest. He's one of 45,000 people in an evacuation warning area.
We are packed and ready when, seems like we're in pretty imminent danger. We'll be ready to skate out of here.
His neighbor, Norm Bradley, plans to stay.
Embers are our biggest scare. If it gets big, those embers start flying all over, and there's a lot of dry patches, and those catch, it's a whole new ball game.
The line fire has been burning since Thursday when it sparked near Highland. Firefighters pushed the flames away from the homes Friday, but over the weekend it exploded, now consuming 23,000 acres and threatening more homes in the mountain communities like Running Springs and Angeles Oaks.
Right now our main concern is this east side. There's still a few ways in and out, but if one of those gets cut off, then you only have that one way in or out, and that could be very chaotic.
3 shelters have been set up for those thousands of people displaced, including this one by the Red Cross in Fontana.
I'm just stressed out. Because we could be homeless. That's crazy.
Albert Salami was out of town when the fire turned toward his home, and now he can't get back to Running Springs.
I heard there's ash everywhere, and you can barely see. It's really hard to breathe.
So he and his cats are now taking shelter, thanks to the Red Cross.
Makes all the difference in the world for them to be close to their pets, because we know that they don't want to leave them behind.
Back in the fire zone, it's mostly an aerial fight because of the steep forest terrain, but crews are working around the clock to increase containment as everyone waiting and watching just hopes the winds stay calm.
If we had wind, it would be over.
Back out here live, you can see we're having one of those flare-ups that I talked about right now up in the mountains. The good news is, though, despite all this acreage that is burned, there has not been one structure that has been lost. That is a testament to the firefighters, the crews on the ground and the air that have literally been working now for 4+ days on this fire. I should mention the National Guard is coming in to also help out with those evacuated areas, to maintain them, to make sure that they are secure. And we talked a lot about the evacuees and fires like this. It's important for people to know that if you have fire insurance for your home, a lot of times if you're in a mandatory evacuation area, they will pay for a hotel. So it's important, if you're one of those in a mandatory evacuation area, that you call and make sure so that you can go and leave your house. I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Joy, thank you. LA City firefighters battled yet another brush fire in this extreme heat. SkyCal was over the scene just before noon. This is on Burbank Boulevard near the Balboa Golf Course. Firefighters were able to keep it from spreading and got it out pretty quickly. No word yet on what sparked this fire.
We're also keeping a close eye on the bridge fire burning in the Angeles National Forest. This is north of the 210 freeway up above Glendora. It started in the Cattle Canyon area on Sunday, and it's burned more than 1,200 acres. Several road closures and evacuations are still in place, including the East Fork communities of Camp Williams and the River community.
Well, the Super Scoopers are officially back. The heavy-hitting resources will bring additional support to LA County firefighters. Now, the bright yellow aircraft on lease from Canada are capable of carrying 1,600 gallons of water and can refill in a matter of seconds. LA County Fire Chief Anthony Maroney says the annual collaboration improves the department's response around the clock.
The aircraft are robust, agile, and state-of-the-art. With the arrival of Quebec 1 and Quebec 2 and Teletanker 55, we have increased our aerial capabilities and our ability to fight fires, not only in the day but also at night.
And while the Super Scoopers help crews contain wildfires, Chief Maroney says it is critical for people to have a personalized action plan in case danger is on your doorstep.
Well, this heat is making things a lot more difficult for firefighters from the valleys to the coast. It's another hot one.
Sure is. Meteorologist Olga Espina tracking today's hot temperatures in our next weather. Olga.
Amy and Juan, it has been another sizzling day across Southern California. More of those triple digits. It has been days now since last week that we've been experiencing this excessive heat. In fact, excessive heat warning in place for some of us through Tuesday. And really, that's across most of our inland spots. So all those areas that you see shaded in red under that excessive heat warning for temperatures in the upper 90s and into the 100s, anywhere away from the coastline. Now, for the coastline, we're under a heat advisory. So we continue with these really hot temperatures. The good news is things are finally going to start changing by the middle of the week. Even tomorrow, we'll see a slight drop in temperatures, too. Want to get you outside and show you numbers at the 4 o'clock hour, mid-90s in Simi Valley. We have that triple-digit heat through Santa Clarita at 104, 102 in Lancaster, upper 90s in Palmdale. So it's a hot one in the Antelope Valley and through the LA area, 100 in downtown Los Angeles. Look at this, 107 in Burbank, 107 as well in Pasadena, 106 in El Monte. So really widespread triple digits. This is dangerous heat. As we head into the Orange County area, seeing plenty of triple digits from Stanton into Anaheim, Fullerton, North Tustin, Yorba Linda at 104, Lake Mission Viejo 100. And of course, we've been tracking that fire in Trabuco Canyon currently at 97 degrees. So we'll talk about when things finally start to shift in our favor in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll check back, Olga. Thank you. Broken air conditioners and hot classrooms. Several schools were on minimum day schedule today because of the sweltering heat. KCAL's Jeff Nguyen is live in Granada Hills. Tough to concentrate in school when it's so hot, Jeff.
Certainly, Juan, and that is why a number of students here tell us that they had lunch indoors today. This on the same day when classes ended early at a dozen schools where a number of classrooms did not have air conditioning.
My classroom has no AC. It just has a portable fan. It gets to 97 degrees in there.
Fifth grader Samantha Melendez and her family held up signs outside Haskell Elementary School in Granada Hills Monday. Her mom kept her and her younger sister home from school after their classrooms lost air conditioning on Friday. Across the LA School District, 12 campuses went to a minimum day schedule because of breakdowns in air conditioning. The district says portable units were brought in and all district policies and procedures were followed, and the temperature of every room with students was measured to be within district guidelines.
Don't give us portable airs. Give us a fix. Don't give us a Band-Aid.
In Mission Hills, this LA City crew wore sun hats working in triple-digit temperatures.
City provides us with packets of electrolytes to keep us hydrated, and pretty much water and electrolytes does the job for us out here.
Over at the animal shelter in Van Nuys, Veronica Perry reminds us to make sure to let our garden hose cool off before we use it for our pets. And she says don't go on walks if the pavement is hot.
I recommend taking your shoes off and test the pavement with your foot. If it feels hot, too hot to walk, it's definitely going to feel the same for the dogs.
Back at Haskell Elementary, Mia and Emily Fortune both say they had AC on Monday, and they didn't really want for school to end early.
I got to talk to my friends and it was fun. I would actually like to stay in school longer because we are reading Charlotte's Web, a very good book, and I want to read another chapter.
At this point, it is unclear when all of the air conditioning will be restored. The district says that students in the impacted classrooms have been moved into ones with air conditioning. We are live in Granada Hills. Jeff Nguyen, KCAL News.
And I agree with that young lady. Charlotte's Web is a great book.
Yep.
Well, a message of hope. The Princess of Wales delivering a powerful message after her health battle.
A prehistoric snapshot. What was discovered under a local high school, providing quite a science lesson.
And I'm assignment editor Mike Rogers, the desk. We're continuing to follow that fire burning in Orange County. We'll have the very latest coming up at 4:30.
Stay safe, little guy. Oh, the baby.
Oh, this is a large herd of horses galloping along a Nevada road on Saturday as a wildfire burning near Reno grew. Video recorded by a family passing through shows the herd running away from the flames. The Davis fire has burned 4,700 acres and destroyed at least 14 structures. We've been checking to try to make sure the horses are okay, but it's been really tough getting the information.
Wow, large herd there. Prehistoric artifacts found underneath St. Pedro High School, and that has a lot of people excited. Fossil bone beds, shell layers, megalodon shark teeth, and bones from baleen whales have been unearthed on a property where more than 2,500 students are already learning history, marine biology, and other important courses. LA Unified Superintendent Alberto Carvalho says the discoveries will be a boon to the school and to the region.
The fact that millions of fossils have been unearthed on this site has led to, quite frankly, a new era of concentrated studies that will bring notoriety to this community and to this high school.
Scientists say these fossils offer the most precise map yet of Southern California's marine life from 9 million years ago.
Well, you still have another chance to become a multi-millionaire. One of the richest jackpots on record is still up for grabs. No one won the Mega Millions jackpot Friday night, so now it's soared to $800 million, the seventh largest ever for the game. That drawing will be tomorrow. The game's biggest win was $1.6 billion in August of last year.
Well, a threat for travelers.
Yeah, important information about the dangers of lithium batteries on airplanes.
And I'm Simon Editor Mike Rogers with the desk. We're continuing to follow the airport fire, which is now over 1,000 acres in the Orange County area. We'll have an update after the break.
California's foster family agencies are facing a shutdown, all due to an insurance issue. Many are now wondering, where will the children go?
Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom, like Evan, who's a picky eater but still found success with Noom.
I started going through pictures. I was significantly larger than I am now. You're a big boy. You gotta do something about this. Salads generally are the easy button. For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am, but Noom worked for me. I'm not doing this to get to a number. I'm doing this to feel better. I've lost 50 pounds using Noom.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com.
If you're looking for the one, find it on Realtor.com. Find the one with a short commute to work. Find the one in a great school district. Find the one in a hot neighborhood before it's a hot neighborhood. And find it exclusively in professionally sourced listings. Don't miss out on the perfect home.
Don't all apps do that?
Not really. Download the Realtor.com app today.
My 100th Mint commercial. No. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Yeah. Anyway, still $15 a month, so whenever you're ready. Sorry about all that production value.
In my book, saving while shopping is a no-brainer. So I use Rakuten to get cash back while I'm book clubbing. Cha-ching! With Rakuten, I get cash back at over 3,500 stores.
So how does that work?
Well, stores pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. Then, Rakuten shares that money with us in a check or PayPal payment. It's free and easy.
News 24/7 for live coverage with pre- and post-debate analysis from our political team. Special coverage begins at 5 Eastern on CBS News 24/7.
We are following breaking news now at 4:30. The airport fire burning in the Trabuco Canyon area of Orange County.
The fire has grown to more than 1,000 acres and forced mandatory evacuation.
And you can see those intense flames and also this really intense smoke that has been pushed up into the air. Fire department personnel who told us the fire is pushing East LA. That shows you how huge this fire is. And you can see those intense flames and also this really intense smoke that has been pushed up into the air. Desmond Shaw said on his way he could actually see it from East LA. That shows you how huge this fire is. Got pulled off to another fire in Banning. The good news is they're back. That was on it. They are going back over here to San Bernardino Airport. That is where they refuel from, and then you've got airport. That is where they refuel from, and then you've got a couple of Chinooks that are going to come down as well. So there is a very large firefight happening here from the air. I also wanted to show you this. This is a camera that is up at Santiago Peak. This is where the radio towers are. There's a number of other cameras. Our equipment is up here as well. And you can see it just from this angle here. This is just over the course of the last 15 minutes. We play it back over a little bit longer and you see this is right when the fire kind of started and how very quickly it went. We started at 7 acres and it very quickly ballooned now into over 1,000 acres. Now, there are also mandatory evacuations for this fire as well that we'll show you here. Here in the red, these are the mandatory evacuations. That's the Robinson Ranch HOA. The orange is the voluntary evacuations. When we spoke with that fire department personnel, they said, yes, those exist. However, the fire is moving away from them and moving up into the mountains. We had a chance to go to a shopping center where that mandatory evacuation zone is and speak to people about just kind of what exactly is going on down there.
We don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, it's super close. Like you can see the flames roaring up. All the helicopters and planes, like you know what's gonna happen, all this traffic, the cops and the fire, and there's even people yelling. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can hear the horns, the honking behind him. This is the traffic that it has created. This is people actually going towards the fire. They are not able to do that. They are being turned around right there at the intersection. So presumably it is people that are trying to go back up to their property to check on their homes. Although once you are out of that area, the Orange County Sheriff's Department and local law enforcement are not going to let you return there. Again, mandatory evacuations in place. This fire over 1,000 acres, 0% contained. We're going to keep an eye on it here from the desk.
All right, Mike, thank you. Well, safety officials are warning travelers of the dangers of lithium batteries in flight. Safety officials are warning travelers of the dangers of lithium batteries in flight. The common electronic power source can short circuit, causing a scary solving. A lithium battery are on the rise, up 28% in the past 5 years. Flight attendants
Man accused of killing his neighbors at a nudist ranch in court answering to murder charges. Michael Sparks pleaded not guilty to those 2 murder charges. Prosecutors say he killed Daniel and Stephanie Menard. The couple was reported missing late last month. A few days later, their remains were found under Sparks' home, where he was also hiding out. SWAT officers tore down the house to get him and to the remains.
Danya Bacchus has a look back at the life of an icon.
CBS News.
There'll never be another voice like that.
relies on to ensure compliance with SOC 2, ISO 27001, and even frameworks you've defined yourself. So audit prep becomes a breeze. Automate compliance and prove trust. Get started at Vanta.com.
Shopping, working, and relaxing online can attract various digital threats. To improve your protection against them, just turn on NordVPN. This cybersecurity app will block web trackers and malware-infected sites. It will also encrypt your internet traffic without losing a smooth connection. Choose the VPN recommended by Forbes Advisor. Get the deal now. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
I avoided the mirror. I felt alone for a long time.
I remember going home and praying for it to go away, not thinking it was something wrong with me.
I go into a lot of things thinking it's not going to work, and I thought Muesli would be the same thing. But it actually worked.
More than 700,000 patients have regained their confidence with Muesli's prescription treatments.
When you're hopeless and then you find other women who are in the same boat as you suddenly feel okay. We're gonna get out of it together. That's what Muesli did for me.
Protect our cyclists and pedestrians. Go safely, California.
A major health update from the Princess of Wales. Kate Middleton says she will be returning to public duties after finishing her chemotherapy treatment.
This time has above all reminded William and me to reflect and be grateful for the simple yet important things in life, which so many of us often take for granted, of simply loving and being loved.
Kate posted this video on social media. The 42-year-old says she will continue to focus on doing what she can to stay cancer-free and that her path to healing and recovery is still long. She thanked everyone who has supported her on this journey, saying she is humbled. The princess first shared her diagnosis back in March after undergoing abdominal surgery.
Well, the highest court in Massachusetts